The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. Boy, that was dumb.
No, it wasn't.
Anyway, let's get right into it. It's time for the Low Fact Podcast.
Woohoo!
So, what is it? I guess it's a little bit over a week, almost 2 weeks? Yeah, it's almost 2 weeks since the election, and
It's 2 weeks? Or is it a week? It's a week since the election.
it's like a week and a half. And there's still no certified winner, but as I watch the rumblings of, I don't know, what is it, corporate media? The Patreon media calls it legacy media.
Legacy media.
Yeah, that's what the conservative folks call it. But as I'm watching all this stuff, it reminds me of the 2008 bursting of the bubble, the economic bubble,
Right.
when all the moneyed interests were basically saying we're too big to fail.
I remember that.
As I look upon it now, seeing what's going on, I think that statement was a threat.
The statement from the media?
From the big banks, from the moneyed interests, when they were saying we're too big to fail.
Really?
I think it was a threat. Because think about it. The side that decided to heed that threat, and mind you, I was one of those people that kind of took the phrase at its plain meaning. Like, okay, maybe they are too big to fail or whatever. But I remember there were a lot of people that would say, no, there are plenty of banks and plenty of other moneyed interests that didn't do what those guys did. And, don't need a ton of money to get bailed out.
And they didn't get bailed out.
Well, they didn't need it.
Oh.
You should, the people that disagreed with the term too big to fail. Mm-hmm. Back then, the two candidates, right, were Barack Obama, who eventually became the president, and John McCain. And funnily enough, it just kind of seems that the side that backed their play, oh yeah, you're too big to fail, we'll make sure you don't, all of a sudden is kind of lavishing all kinds of money on that side of the aisle.
Huh.
I mean, because all the stuff coming out from that side of the aisle, especially on the Bernie Sanders, Congresswoman Cortez or Ocasio-Cortez or whatever you want to call them, mm-hmm. Senator Sanders, Senator Warren,
Yep.
from the real progressive bunch, is kind of out there. But the Democratic Party is getting a whole lot of money, right?
Lots.
Where do you think that money comes from? It seems like it's coming from those established interests, the big bank, the big Wall Street interests and whatnot. But it just seemed kind of funny to me because now when you watch the news coverage, right, even though there hasn't been a certified winner of the election, I still don't know what to call them. The five company media.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, it is like a handful of companies that owns all the information that we consume.
And they're trying to call it. I don't get it. How does the media get to call the election when everybody else when it's everybody that voted?
What?
That just doesn't seem correct.
I'm just drinking water. You decided to chime in because you thought you knew where I was going, so you can drive the train.
Dude, I have no idea where you're going.
Too bad. Now it's your train.
Oh, man.
You walked into the engineer's booth.
No, I don't want the train.
Grab a hold of the train now.
I have no idea where you're going.
Well, that's quite all right. This is a conversation, so it's not really going anywhere.
But I remember that there were some smaller banks that didn't get bailed out that probably failed.
Did they fail?
I don't know.
So you really didn't care too much about it, then?
I just
Now you're flailing.
My
You're just sitting here trying to think of something to talk about that you think is remotely related to what I was talking about.
Yeah. Well, my vague recollection is that people were saying that the big guys all got bailed out and the small guys didn't. But I don't know if the small guys failed or not.
My vague recollection is people sitting there saying you shouldn't bail out the big guys, and I was sitting there going, why not?
You shouldn't, or you should?
What?
You shouldn't bail out the big guys, or you should bail out the big guys?
Who?
You're why not?
Yeah.
People were saying we should bail them out, and you were saying, why should we?
No, they were saying we shouldn't bail them out, and I said, why not?
Why?
That's just the way I am.
But you didn't believe that.
Well, at the time, no, I did not personally believe that they shouldn't be bailed out because I didn't believe, well, I didn't know anything that was going on, number one. But I didn't, I'm not the type of person that, I basically think everybody's like me, just like everybody else.
Right.
And because I'm not the type of person that's kind of, that would really kind of take advantage of my position. Now, granted, I probably haven't had a position to take advantage of. So all I can really say is historically, I've never really taken advantage of my position, but then I have to add the caveat of I don't think I've ever had a position to take advantage of anyway. But I was of the opinion, well, maybe they are, maybe they are too big to fail, because I was sitting there thinking if they fail, then what happens? All of our society could go down the tubes. And at the time I was kind of scared of what would happen if everything went down the tubes. Of course, I was much younger and much more hopeful for my life. And now that I'm not younger or much more hopeful
for your life,
I'm sitting here going, yeah, whatever,
Like let it all fail.
Yeah, but that's not really what I was talking about. What I was talking about is I think back then when those moneyed interests said we're too big to fail, it was not a statement of you need to do this. It was a threat. You don't do this and you're going to pay, because the party that helped them seemingly always got all kinds of stuff on their side. The corporate legacy, five family, whatever you want to call it, media, the entertainment folks, just all kinds of stuff, all in their corner. And the side that didn't, or had a philosophy that was kind of against that, didn't. But funnily enough, if you believe what's being said out there, money doesn't buy a lot of elections. I mean, right? Something like almost $200 million was spent to unseat Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham.
Oh, man.
It didn't happen. But really what I wanted to talk about was that whole too big to fail thing. Was it really a threat? Or was it, or did things just kind of organically happen this way? And if it did, I find it, I don't know, the thing that I find a little unlikely about that is one never sits there and thinks of big moneyed interests trying to help the little guy.
Why would big money interest help the little guy?
Well, why would anyone help the little guy, really? No one wants to help the little guy, but that's a whole nother statement. But, when you think of communism and progressivism, you don't think of big money. At least I don't.
Well, that's not part of their
well, that's who's
messaging.
That's who's paying for everything. Bernie Sanders. He's a what? Democratic socialist?
Yes.
Which is essentially a communist?
No, man, it's democratic socialism.
Yeah, well, whatever. But for a socialist, he sure does make a lot of money. Yeah,
he's worth a lot of money.
Now, I don't know too many socialists, but all the socialists, right? The socialists in Venezuela, they're the richest people in Venezuela. Hugo Chavez, I think, is the third richest person in Venezuela. She's a billionaire.
His daughter?
Yeah, all the people in the echelons of the government, they have.
Is he dead? Is Hugo Chavez dead?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
If he's not, then he faked his own death and he's living somewhere just kind of in style.
Wow.
Spending his money somewhere.
I don't know. That just freaks me out.
What?
The idea that there's all this money and resources behind just one party.
Well, it's not just behind one party. That'd be stupid.
Oh, you're not saying they're behind one party?
No, but they give a majority of their money to one party. Or I don't know what they do. I just think that it was. I'm just saying for the umpteenth time that it seems kind of strange that the too big to fail bunch, after they got bailed out, the bunch that's supposed to be for the people and the common man sure is getting a whole lot of moolah from, wealthy, moneyed interests that traditionally one would think would go to the other side.
That just disgusts me.
You're going to need to say more than that. Okay, it disgusts you.
It's just like just a whole level of it's like a massive level of corruption.
I don't
destroying.
Okay, destroy. I mean, you throw out these.
It's destroying. They don't give a shit about the democratic institutions in this country. Like they don't give a fuck.
And
well, isn't that disturbing to you?
Why?
Because like you were born here.
Do you think you'd be any different if you were in their shoes? If your answer is yes, your answer is yes, dude. I mean,
well, yeah, my answer is yes.
Well, it's not very disturbing for me because I'm not sure.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I make jokes to people about, if I'd gotten wealth real early in life, I'd have gone out and I'd have exploded. They'd have to name some sexual disease after me because I would have just, had sex with everything. Mr. Pansexual here. Which is what I am, I think.
What the fuck is a pansexual?
Well, in my definition of pansexual, it's every time I eat a super supreme pan pizza from Pizza Hut, I get a sexual experience.
Is something wrong with you?
I don't know what it's supposed to mean for other people, but that's what it means for me.
You just ain't right.
That's true. But I don't think that I can say for certain that if I were in the position of anybody like that, tons of money, tons of power. Of course, some people think power is money, or money is power. But all that, whatever you want to call it, that I would be, that I would be just like me now and thinking the best way to spend my time is to kind of wrap up in a blanket on a cold day after I've had my exercise and read some news articles, hunting around for news articles and maybe watching a movie.
I think you'd probably spend a little bit more time mowing your lawn if you're super wealthy. You'd probably have one of those.
Oh, riding lawnmowers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I can't guarantee the Forrest Gump effect for me. I'd like to think that I'm a little bit a little bit higher on the intelligence scale than that.
Wait, what is the Forrest Gump effect?
He made all that money, but he still mowed that lawn at his old high school for free.
That's right,
because he had all that money.
We got more money than David Crockett.
But yeah, so that's my whole thing about Too Big to Fail.
That's fucked up.
Well,
that's my big contribution to that.
Thank you so very much.